I'm going to do another episode of Gunpla News tomorrow that's basically going to be everything but the Bill Divers news that's happened over the last week or so.
3 days later.
Welcome to Tomorrow, everybody. I'm your host, Second Soundwave, and it's time for some Gunpla news. But as always, we first got to give a big thank you to channel sponsor, New Type HQ. If you want to get yourself some cool Gunpla models, check out the link in the description below, and don't forget to use code Channel2S for 10% off your order. We're starting things off tonight with the much-awaited, eagerly anticipated, and absolutely incredible-looking Master Grade Gundam Barbatos. This kit has been seen in full color now, and it looks beautiful. The first picture we have here is an exploded view of half of the model where we can see just how incredible the color separation on this kit is going to be. Absolutely every little detail is going to be perfectly recreated as one would hope to see in a master grade model. This new kit easily puts the old 1100 no grade out of business, and while I'm not the biggest fan of the Barbatos design, I am definitely going to be adding this one to my collection. The articulation on this kit also looks absolutely insane as well. Not only does it have the usual great articulation you would expect from modern master grade, but it seems to go a step further in a few places, such as the wrist, where it appears like he can basically bend his hand at almost a complete 90-degree angle, which is just great for getting some of those really dynamic poses the Barbatos is known for. The inner frame looks pretty much exactly how it did in the anime, and all around this model just looks absolutely incredible. We do have release information for it as well. It's going to be coming out in November, and it's going to be just under 5,000 yen. We did get a few new images of the high-grade After Colony Gundam Sandrock as well. We've actually seen a full, basically video review of this kit by the Gundam base, so you can head over to their official channel and you'll probably be able to find that. Color separation on it looks pretty great. He's got some stickers in areas like those little thrusters on the shoulders, and I think those little red bits on the shield. But other than that, it looks like a standard high-quality high-grade. You can see a little bit more of that part separation on the arm and shield here in this image. But most of this is just stuff we've already seen, plus confirmation of kind of little things like him being able to reach around and grab his swords from behind. Nothing too special. However, we did get to see a new high-grade reveal in a very similar vein to the Leo and Maganak. It seems like the third disposable grunt suit to join the lineup is the Death Army from Mobile Fighter G Gundam. Now, this is a kit I never in a million years would have guessed we'd get a high grade of, but Bandai has this interesting kind of theme going on now where they're making all these disposable basic grunt suits from the 90s, so I don't mind seeing them continue it. Hey, high grade afterwar Genis? Daughters? I'm down. But focusing on what's actually been confirmed so far, the Death Army looks pretty decent. He does appear to have what looks like a 90-degree elbow bend, so that's not super great. But he's a pretty basic model. I believe it's only around 1,200 yen, so you can't expect too much from it. He's got a club that turns into a gun, although it's less of a transformation, more of him holding it from two different places. He has this weird kind of gimmick where his legs fold up onto his back. I'm not really sure what that's about. And he has two different options for his mono eye, which is one of the most bizarre and terrifying mono eyes I've ever seen in my life. It's a pretty weird kit that I would have thought was kind of left field, but as we saw last episode, this is actually getting reused in the Bill Divers Re-Rides line, so it seems like there was a little bit of purpose to this release after all. So next up is our first p-bandai release of tonight, and that is another one of those mission packs, the Masquerade Gundam F90. Now, we've seen the first two packs for this already. This is our second pack of two, so this is going to be two different packs named after letters. They're doing this thing where they're basically going to go through the whole alphabet, and there's going to be a pack for each letter, and they're releasing them in sets of two. So this is the F pack and the M pack, that being fighting and marine. So that's the theme they're going for with these. We got the marine pack in a bright orange that I'm not a huge fan of. I think it looks a little bit play schooly, but he's definitely got some classic underwater equipment going on here. He's got some flotation tanks, he's got some torpedoes, he's got a searchlight. A little bit more my style is the fighting pack. It's pretty simple and definitely not the most elaborate looking pack we've seen so far. However, he does have basically a bigger version of those very cool elbow knuckle punch weapons that the Crossbone Gundams have. And then it looks like he has some kind of subarm weapon that folds out of his hip skirts, but we haven't seen any pictures of exactly how these work, so I'm not really sure what's up with that. In fact, this may very well be one of the new packs that they basically just made up for this kit, because they are doing that, by the way. The original F90 had nowhere near 26 packs. So a lot of these are just going to be kind of making up for the model. The next kit in the very cool SD Cross Silhouette line that I highly recommend checking out if you haven't already, it really is pretty much the best that SD Gundam has ever been, is the Wing Zero Custom EW. Now, I'm still over here wondering what happened to that Efreet prototype they showed off and just hoping that it's not dead in the water like so many other kits. But in the meantime, the Wing Zero Custom does look pretty cool, I guess. He has that gimmick that the Wing Zero usually has where he can fold his wings around himself to form a shield. It's pretty nice to have a modern style, modern proportioned SD Gundam of the Wing Zero that isn't from that horrible abomination of a line. And yeah, it looks like a pretty good kit. So the Masquerade Gundam Dynamis is getting its first p-bandai kit, and it's not the Dynamis Torpedo or anything fancy like that. It's just a very basic Trans Am gloss injection version. If you've seen any Trans Am kit, you've basically seen them all, so there's really not a whole lot to say about this one. Also p-bandai, but a little bit more interesting, is the Masquerade Heavy Arms Angle equipment. Now this is one of those Glory of Losers variants, kind of like the Shenlong with the Liaoya sword, and just like the Shenlong with Liaoya, you can actually pre-order this through the Bluefin website. So if you're based out of the US and you want to get your hands on this awesome p-bandai kit, you can go to their site and pre-order it right now for around $60, which seemed like a lot to me at first, but then I looked at the Japanese p-bandai site and they're actually selling it for around 6,000 yen, so it pretty much works out. Now this variant of the Heavy Arms is pretty interesting. I've actually never seen this one before, but he's got a whole bunch of missile pods. Well, okay, he's got a whole lot of missile pods to begin with, but this just gives him even more missile pods and some kind of frame arms Gorai style tank treads on his legs. Pretty neat redesign. I don't know how well it necessarily meshes with the existing design. I don't think it's really the best upgrade I've seen, but it definitely adds a little bit of extra functionality to an already very cool Master Grade. Another p-bandai kit we're seeing with, coincidentally, also some extra missile pods added onto it is the GM Sniper Custom with missile equipment. And it's basically just the existing GM Sniper Custom kit from the origin, but with some missile pods on the shoulders. There's really not a whole lot to see here. It's pretty much the same kit. It's still p-bandai. And continuing on the p-bandai train, we also have full color images of the Hexanthale 2 from Advance of Zeta. Now, just like all the other Advance of Zeta high grades we've gotten since, like 2007, 2008, this is a p-bandai kit, and it's also a brand new mold, because of course it is. So this is the Hexanthale 2. It's a very big mobile suit. From what I remember, I think we saw like a prototype picture of this at some convention. It looked pretty tall. Just going off this gun that it's holding, which appears to be the same one that came with the Wound War, you can tell this is definitely going to be a very large model. The flight mode on it looks really cool too. I actually wasn't that familiar with this design, so I didn't even know it was supposed to transform. And we didn't get to see any pictures of this or anything, but they are eventually going to be making some kind of upgrade for it called the Harududu 2 that doesn't bear any similarities as far as I can see to the original Harududu. If anything, looks more like the extra parts that are included with the Kaplant Harairu. And now I don't know a whole lot about Advance of Zeta, so I can't say much about this upgrade, but seeing as how they advertised it with the Hexanthale 2, I would assume it's some kind of upgrade for that kit. Another p-bandai kit. Don't worry, this is the last one for tonight. The pain will be over soon. This is the Master Grade Dwage Custom. And I have to say, this is actually a really interesting looking mobile suit design, and I'm kind of happy to see it get a Master Grade. I definitely don't think this is something that would have sold in any capacity at retail, so I kind of see why they made it p-bandai, but it's also at the same time a really interesting design. This really exudes that kind of 1980s MSV vibes. Even though I don't think it's MSV, I think this was from Double Zeta Gundam. But it's got just that really retro mecha quality to it. I've never even seen this suit before, but I can already picture like the really old like Kunio Okawara watercolor drawn line art of this thing just by looking at the kit. I can just see that in my mind. And I think that's the mark of a really great design. While the original Dwage was really similar to the Dom, this one's actually got a lot of new tooling. The whole thing looks pretty awesome, actually. But so far as we can tell, this is unfortunately not a kit that Bluefin seems to be interested in distributing. So if you want one of these, you're going to have to pay the usual p-bandai prices. And I guess to wrap up the night, we could look at a couple new SD Gundam Singoku Souketsu Den kits, because this line's been going pretty hard so far. They've gotten like 3 new kits out a month. They're really just cranking these things out as fast as they can. I've actually picked a few of them up. I haven't built them yet, but from what I've seen from pictures online, this actually looks like a pretty decent line. So this new November wave of Singoku Den kits consists of 2 very good, very distinctive designs. So the first one we're looking at here is the Death Scythe, and by distinctive design, I mean it really looks like the Gundam that's supposed to be. This isn't one of those generic kind of pseudo-samurai looking mishmash designs. This really looks like the Death Scythe hell. The other kit in the November wave is the Master Gundam, and this one also looks unmistakably like the Master Gundam, although to be fair, it's really hard to make the Master Gundam look like anything else with a head like that. It's a pretty wacky head design. I've never really been a fan of the Master Gundam design personally, but I think it kind of lends itself well to the stylization of this kit. It seems like they've also incorporated the wings as well, or cape pieces, or whatever those things are, as translucent energy bits on his back. And they gave him an axe weapon, which is a little bit weird for the character, seeing as far as I know, he just fights with his hands in that weird beam kung fu cloth thing. And just like the Death Scythe Hell, this kit is coming out in November. So I think that's going to do it for tonight, guys. Thanks for watching. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed this video. If you're new to Channel 2S, definitely subscribe for more Gundam and Gunpla videos. And as always, I'm your host, Second Soundwave, and I'll see you next time. Take care, guys.